Hey guys, welcome back to Audi C7 owners with another video today. Going to be talking about how to raise and support your Audi C7 when you're rotating wheels or just swapping wheels. Maybe you're putting wheel spacers on like we're going to be doing today in this video as well. A few people have actually messaged me and asked me, hey, how do I raise my car? It's not like older Volkswagens and Audis where you just take your jack, put it on there, find a nice firm spot that's supported and lift it. Everything underneath is covered by plastic, and there's specific areas that you want to lift the car from so you don't do any damage. One thing I highly suggest you do is go and spend about $10 on Amazon and pick up one of these. This is a jack pad or a puck that will sit on your jack pad, and this part here specifically fits into places underneath your rail here, your support rail along the edge of your car, to properly lift it up without doing any damage. These things fit really well. I just found out how well exactly. I used this last Friday, so about 5 days ago, to rotate the wheels on my car before I drove to Virginia. I live in southern North Carolina, and I got everything out today to do the video, and I went to go look for this thing. Been looking for about 20 minutes to find it. Turns out it was still stuck in the car where it goes to lift the car, and it survived the entire trip from southeastern North Carolina to Norfolk, Virginia, and back on interstate travel, hitting lots of bumps, was still wedged in there. So highly recommend it. I'll put a link below in the description so that you can find this easily. It only costs about 10 bucks, Amazon Prime shipped, so definitely worth it. So here we go with the video. Okay, so let's go over a few tools that you're gonna need today. First off, definitely get that puck, remember that. Get your impact wrench, your impact gun. I've got my DeWalt here. This thing works great, 20 volt. Thing breaks lug bolts real easily. Got my 17mm socket on there. If you don't have one of these, just get your socket wrench and a 17mm socket that's long enough to get in there. Get knee pads. Worth it. Don't care. Get them. Gloves if you want to. And then, obviously you're gonna need your jack. Harbor Freight has good deals. Jack stands. But really importantly, this is going to save you when you're taking your wheels on and off. Right heck here, take your wheel out. I already got my spare out of the car. Come back over here. First, grab this thing. You're going to want this to help seat your lug bolts back in there. But more importantly, reach back into here and find, your car will have a plastic one. These screw into where your lug bolts go in your hub. I've got two. I put an extra one. I bought a metal one from, I think, ECS, but you can get them wherever. Pretty sure they sell them on Amazon. But you get these, at least use the one. Two is better. And then whenever you take your wheels off and you're trying to put them back on, instead of trying to fight to hold up the wheel and line it up right, you're going to screw these into your hub assembly, and they'll create a guide that you can just put your wheel onto, and then you can put your other lug bolts in, tighten them up a little bit, take these out, put your last two bolts in, and then it makes the job a lot easier. So highly recommend getting these. Okay guys, I want to show you exactly where this puck goes that's going to help you lift it up. So in the front, when you get down and you look at your side skirt, you'll see here, you've got this kind of cutout here on the front of your side skirt. Right underneath there is where you're going to find the first puck area. So if I get under here, you can see that little indentation there. Right there. And that's where the puck's going to go to lift. I've already got the rear of the car raised, so I'll show you something else. So we move to the rear, you can see it's just up on the jack right now, which never leave your car, only jacked up on the jack. But also on the side skirt here, see this little triangle divot here. See that right there? That's going to show you exactly where it goes. So if you look under here, you can see exactly how the puck sits into that area. So if you look, the side skirt kind of comes down here, and there's a frame rail that comes back. There's plastic, then there's a frame rail here. There's plastic there, but the frame rail's right underneath it. So we're going to put our jack stand right there. So, lift it up, and you might not be able to get all the way up like that, so it's just sitting there. So we're gonna just slowly let it raise or come down a little bit, nice and slow, and it's on there. Something else you guys are gonna grab out of here is that little thingy right there. That's to remove the cover off your wheel so you can access your lug bolts. Okay, so now we're going to be removing the rear wheel. So take that little key that I dropped that you got out of the trunk of your car. You're going to find that little hole on your cover. Just put it in here and pull it out. It comes off pretty simple. These little parts here, they might pop off. You can just pop them back on, not a big deal. Set that out of the way. Now remember, our wheel's already off the ground for the front and back. If you're using a breaker bar, you're going to want to leave your wheel on the ground to break the bolts, then raise it up, and then you can remove the bolts from there. But I've got my impact gun here, and this should have no problem Taking the bolts off. Yay! So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the wheels, and I'll be back when I'm about to put the spacers on. Alright, so here are the spacers. I picked up a used set of Black Force Industry spacers from a buddy of mine. I got some 20mm spacers for the rear and some 15mm spacers for the front. When you do this, make sure you get the appropriate lug bolt length. I've got a bag of 45mm length lug bolts here, which work for the 15mm, but for the 20 it's not going to be quite enough. And just a good rule of thumb is whatever your stock length bolt is, which here's my stock bolt. This is a 27mm bolt. So whatever your stock lug is, that's obviously going to go through your OEM wheel and fit into your hub and have enough threads to tighten down properly. So just take whatever your spacer you're using and add that width to your lug bolt. So if this is 27mm and I'm adding a 20mm spacer, I need 47mm long bolts. Now 47mm is difficult to find unless you go to ECS or something, and I don't really want to pay for ECS shipping on bolts, so I just went ahead and got some 50mm long lugs from Black Force Industries. They're not expensive, they had them shipped to me real quick, and these won't be long enough to go through your hub or anything like that. It'll go through the spacer of the wheel and tighten nice and secure to the wheel. The 45mm are going to work just fine for the 15mm spacers. So I'm going to go install one of the 20mm onto the rear, and real quick, just so you can see the difference here, I've got one of the 50mm and one of the stock ones, and you can see that's the difference because that won't even get through the wheel. So here we go. Okay, so here we are at the rear wheel hub. We're about to put the spacers on and the wheels. Remember, I told you about these things. I already got the plastic one screwed in here, but these are where, or this is where these are going to come in real handy. So just go ahead and screw them in. They don't have to go all the way in and be super tight, just enough to where they don't pull out easily. And these are going to help you guide everything. So we have the wheel spacer. We're going to set that on there, and we're going to use these as a guide. And you can see it goes up, mounts up perfectly. And now we're going to be able to put the wheels over this, and then we can get the 3 lug bolts in, and then we can take these out and put the other bolts in and tighten it all down instead of trying to fight to hold everything up together and get it on there. Okay, so we got the bolts just threaded up there. We're going to just use our tire wrench here to snug them down. We're not going to torque them down yet. We're just going to make sure they're on there nice and tight here. Just enough so that we can lower the car down onto it, and so that we can then torque them down to spec, which is 90 foot-pounds. But remember, you want to go in a cross pattern. So if you start here, skip a bolt, go here, skip a bolt, go here, and do the cross pattern so that you evenly tighten them down all the way around. Alright, once you're done with that and you do it on all your wheels, you can lower it down on the side, torque them down to 90 foot-pounds, and you'll be done. Hey guys, one other thing, if you get done with your install, you got your e-brake on, you lift your car up, you either just rotate your wheels or you put on spacers, whatever you do, and then you lower your car back down, and your car looks like it's monster trucking, meaning it's sitting way higher than it should, especially if you're on coilovers or something like that. Don't worry, just get in your car, turn it on, take off the parking brake and the emergency brake, put it in reverse or drive, let it go about 5 feet, and you'll feel it settle back down. After that, it should sit as it normally did. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys a look at what the difference is between having spacers on one side and not on the other. So in the front, I put a 15mm spacer. In the rear, I've got a 20mm spacer. So here's what it looks like. This is the front with the spacer on it. Here's the front without a spacer. Back again. Now I have the OEM Audi sport suspension, so I'm not very low or anything. Here's the 20mm spacer. Right here. Here's what it looks like from the rear. It's getting to be pretty close to flush. Not quite. Don't want to rub. Here's what it looks like without it. Go back. So, hope that helps some guys. Alright guys, we're all done with the spacer install. Do a quick walk around of the car. 15mm up front, 20mm in the back. Remember, I've got the OEM sport suspension. So, not as low as I like yet, but it's coming. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below or shoot us a message here on YouTube or on our Instagram page. This is a pretty simple install. Should probably take you 30-40 minutes and maybe a little longer if it's as hot as it is here. It is hot today, about 100 degrees. Anyways, hope this has been informative, and I'll see you guys on the next video. We got some exciting stuff coming up.